Invisible Woman has immediately become the hottest pick in Marvel Rivals, and there's several reasons why. She has multiple forms of reliable healing, some tank-like qualities, and offensive capabilities. She is truly a jack-of-all-trades character that is very fun to play. While plenty of YouTubers went out and farmed their guides on day one, I played her for 20 hours this weekend, so I could give you 10 actually useful tips to upgrade your Invisible Woman game. Let's start with some specific concrete tips and then get into the more meta-style gameplay tips later, starting with tip number 1. Tip number 1, your force pull or force push ability is an absolute game changer, and you need to know when to push and when to pull. In a game like Marvel Rivals, proper positioning can win you games, and poor positioning can absolutely throw your game. On screen, you're seeing moments where I am literally shoving Doctor Strange ults away from our team, and we win massive fights because Strange gets no value because I repositioned him against his will while he's using an ultimate. With a very short cooldown, Invisible Woman is able to pull enemies into her team to secure kills or push enemies away to protect your own team or secure the objective. Tip number 2, try and combo her force pull with the gravity orb that does AoE damage as often as possible. This orb actually does a decent amount of damage and pulls enemies to the center, so naturally when they walk away and get to the end, you can pull them back in and essentially get double the value for one orb. This is the best way for Invisible Woman to either secure kills on weak enemies or weaken enemies and allow your teammates to finish the job. Tip number 3, look for environmental kills by pushing people off the map on certain maps. Super Soldier Factory, Domination, and Spider Island's Convoy maps are just 2 examples of places where you are able to shove enemies off the map and get free kills, and I promise you, a lot of people are not expecting to all of a sudden get launched 15 meters off the map. Obviously, don't waste your time shoving flying characters or characters with movement abilities, but you already knew that. If you're finding these tips to be actually useful or just enjoy the content, please do consider subscribing. It's free for you, and it helps me out tremendously and lets me know that you like this type of content. So without further ado, let's get into tip number 4. Tip number 4, her ultimate is much better on defense than it is on offense because of how many DPS ults it can negate. Obviously, the healing factor is a big part of this, but keep in mind that your entire team will be invisible, so you can negate enemies like Star-Lord from having lock-on against your teammates. I have tried many times to use it offensively, and while it is helpful, its defensive value is absolutely where it shines. For the next 2 tips, let's talk about maybe the most interesting part of her kit, her shield. Tip number 5, use your shield and track your most aggressive DPS in their 1v1s to help them get an opening pick. You're able to relocate this shield over and over again without a cooldown as long as there's still some health on it, so track some of your flying DPS as they're going in for a 1v1 to provide them with 300 extra health and some heals to help them easily get a 1v1 win. Storm seems to be very meta in Season 1, so this is a great example of a character that you can follow around with your shield and provide her some extra health and protection where she can deal damage behind the wall and secure the opening kill to help your team turn the fight. This is super effective for any of your close range duelists that are taking 1v1s as well, as you will provide them some extra healing in the middle of their punching combos or sword slashing abilities, and it is very frequently the difference between winning and losing a 1v1. Tip number 6, remember that you can heal yourself with this shield, so when in serious danger, put a shield on somebody close to you and stand in it to heal yourself and not wait on a strategist to help you. 2 things are true about Marvel Rivals. 1, we all know that split-second decisions can mean life or death, and life or death can mean victory and defeat, and when you need a heal, you need one right now. 2, strategists often need to look out for the rest of their team and can't always see the other strategist who might be weak at the time, or they're blind. So either way, with Invisible Woman, you don't have to wait on your other strategist to heal you. Throw down that shield on your nearest teammate, stand there, get healthy, and continue to help your team from a distance until you're full health, and then throw that shield in front of your team again. If you've ever flown on an airplane, they always say in an emergency situation to secure your own oxygen mask before helping this person sitting next to you or a small child. Sometimes you gotta treat your teammates like small children. Use your own shield to heal yourself because, let's be honest, you're no good to your team dead, and they are small children that might be running around with their heads cut off like chickens, so you need to heal yourself up to protect them. Tip number 7 is extremely similar. You have self-heal when invisible, so use your double jump to activate your invisibility and heal yourself if you need to. If your tanks and DPS are relatively healthy and you take a lot of damage, it's okay to disengage for a little bit. As long as your teammates don't hit 0, they'll be okay. So sometimes it's alright to heal yourself, let your passive rejuvenate your own HP pool, and let your tank go from 600 HP to 200. It might scare them for a moment, but it's better for them to get to low HP and you live than to have them at full HP and you die and you're no longer there to help them. However, I must caution you, you have to make sure you know when to get back in and help your team, because it is not always worth it for you to regen to full HP and allow your teammates to die. You may only have time to regen your own health to halfway, about 150, before your team really needs you, so don't make a mental note that you only get back in when you're full health. You have to play it out in each game and determine how needy your tanks and duelists are, or just the flow of the game. Try and figure out how much health can I actually get before I need to get back in and help my team. At tip number 8, remember that every single one of her heals has piercing ability, so she is a fantastic crowd healer and crowd damager. It's reasonable to think that an invisible character would be an excellent flanker, and while she might be, that is not nearly where she is the most effective. None of her abilities have really fantastic range, pun intended, so she needs to stay in close to medium range to get most of her heals out. This is not a limitation because she is given several abilities to help her escape and survive, like her shield, like her double jump to get invisible, and like the force push to push away danger. While she is still best in the back line, I do believe that as a strategist, she arguably should be closer to her team than any other character because of how well she is able to heal multiple people at once, and the fact that that shield needs to be mostly used in the front to block damage. You will also be able to farm damage across a wide variety of enemies anytime there is a Groot that groups people together, like a Groot ult or a Doctor Strange ult that keeps people immobilized, so you need to be close to the action as often as you can to get the maximum value out of that piercing ability that comes with each item in her kit. These last two tips are a bit more abstract, yet they are arguably the most important, as this tackles the mentality you need to have when playing as the Invisible Woman. Tip number 9, recognize that you are not a stat stuffer, you are a fight-winning character. If you are primarily focused on how big of a healing number you can have at the end of the game, you are doing yourself and your team a disservice, and you will lose more games because of that mentality. Of course, healing is your primary role and is incredibly important, but most of the time when you go back and look at why you won a game, it will be because of some of these moments, like pushing a Strange away and saving your team from an ultimate, more than it is just your raw healing output. Unlike Cloak and Dagger, you have a very useful kit in turning fights for your team, so remember that and look for those moments to swing a fight in your favor, more so than just trying to get a bigger number on the scoreboard at the end of the game. Tip number 10, this doesn't go just for Invisible Woman, but for any character. Find people that you like to watch, especially on live streams or YouTube videos, and try to imitate their game style. If you love basketball, you know Kobe Bryant copied every move from Michael Jordan, and it's part of what made Kobe so amazing. So what's stopping you from watching some of your favorite creators playing this character, copying their skills and abilities, and implementing them in your own way? Now, I will shamelessly plug my own Twitch. The link is in the top of the description. I would love to have you guys hang out. I've been playing a ton of Invisible Woman, and we're climbing up into Celestial, hoping to hit Eternity very soon, so please do come check me out. I would greatly appreciate it. And that's it. Those are 10, hopefully actually useful tips for Invisible Woman. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know down in the comments, or if I missed anything that you want to share with your friends, please do let them know. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please do consider liking. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.